This year, more than any other year, I've been really getting into the romance genre. I love a good love story in YA books, but I was just craving something more, and so I decided that new adult was something I wanted to try to explore, and then later on fell into adult romance. Back when I would read only new adult, I got very discouraged because a lot of it seemed to be the same thing over and over, where there were just really controlling guys, and there was slut shaming, and the plots seemed repetitive and recycled, and I was just over the fact that we were reading all of these really gross love stories over and over. I wanted romance that had a more mutual vibe where the men respected the women. As I said, I've been reading a lot of romance this year, and I've finally been able to compile a list of healthy romances that I would like to recommend to you. I always hesitate filming recommendations videos just because there's so many more books that I want to read, and I want to make sure I have diverse selections, but I'm at the point now where I think I have enough to give you recommendations. If I read any more in the future that are just as good as these ones that I've discovered, then I will definitely film a part 2 and let you all know. Just a disclaimer, this video is only going to be romance pairings between men and women. I don't feel like I have a good enough caliber of reading queer stories to be able to recommend them. I apologize, but in the future I will be filming different, more specific videos about female-female relationships, male-male relationships, etc. Okay, disclaimer over. The first recommendation I have is the one that has been my go-to recommendation for years. Because of that, take it with a grain of salt, because maybe in hindsight it's not as great as I thought it was, but I adore Easy by Tamara Weber. This is a new adult novel about a girl named Jacqueline who goes to college. While she's there, she has an experience where she's nearly sexually assaulted. Fortunately, another guy at the party steps in to help her. The entire book is motivated by that event, and it's about the character wanting to protect herself as well as developing this friendship slash relationship with this guy that she met the night that he saved her. I know the whole saving the girl trope is a thing, but I promise it's fine. The thing that stands out most about this book to me is just how much the character wants to fight back against sexism. She takes self-defense classes. She has conversations about consent and boys behaving the way that they do. During all the romance scenes, it's very consensual. It's a slow, gradual pace, and it's not just like, page 3, dicks are out, which is not bad, but in a story like this, I was glad to see a gradual development of the relationship, and it was done so well, and I just love Lucas so much. This is a companion series, so there's a second one from the guy's point of view that goes into his backstory of his family and why that he reacted the way that he did when he witnessed someone almost getting sexually assaulted. And then there's 2 more books that follow different characters in the series, which were okay. Take from that what you will. Easy is definitely one of my favorite books. The next recommendation I have is another new adult series. It's the Off the Map series by Leah Riley, the first book being called Upside Down. This series is about a girl who is an international student at college, and she goes to school in Melbourne, Australia. So she uproots her life from LA and goes out to Australia, goes to class, meets new people, is in a totally new environment, and she meets a boy. And this is an entire trilogy, and it follows the same characters chronologically, which is unheard of in new adult, and I loved it. The entire series is just about the progressing relationship between this international student and this boy that she meets in Australia, all the adventures they go on. The main character of this book has OCD in its own voices representation. There's a lesbian side character in it. It's very sex positive. The dialogue is really cute and funny. The characters are always playing around and joking with one another, which is something I enjoy a lot, but it can go over the top. Just be aware, if you don't like corny writing, this might not be your favorite thing in the world, but I do highly recommend it just for a fun, lighthearted series that has really good romance that's also like not repetitive. I don't know how else to describe that, but it's like, I don't know, the characters kept it fresh. The next book I have to recommend is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, which is one of my new favorite books of all time that I read this year. This is an adult romance book that is an office set enemies to lovers story. It's about Lucy and Josh, who are both employees at this publishing company. Is it a publishing company? I don't quite remember what their actual profession is, but ever since they've worked together, they have always butted heads. At the beginning of the novel, you're just let into this world of them despising each other, always having snarky dialogue, and then things begin to progress. I mean, it's romance, so I feel like any synopsis I give you where it's enemies to lovers or the 2 characters seem like they might not end up together, we know they're gonna end up together. The reason I love this book is because the way that the humorous writing style is done is typically not something I'm a fan of, but it's so actually funny and good. I adore Lucy as the main character. I think she's snarky and relatable and cute, but also feminine and powerful. My number one thing that I love about romance books is whenever there are male love interests who are soft Although Josh is like the enemy bad guy of this book, he also just has a very sensitive and soft side, which is my favorite thing ever. If you have any recommendations for boys that are soft, I want them. I love all the romance scenes in this book. Again, I love how gradual it is throughout the entire story. Just be aware going into this book that it does use a little bit of problematic language whenever Lucy's making all the jokes in her narrative, but that's the only complaint I have. I highly recommend it. The next book I have to recommend isn't so much a book as an author. I'm going to be mentioning several books by Christina Lauren. Christina Lauren is actually a writing duo of two best friends. They write a lot of wonderful adult romance books. I have read several of their books. I have many more that I still want to read because I'm trying to read everything they've done just because it's so fun. The first book I read by them was Roomies, which is about a girl who lives in New York City and her uncle is this Broadway producer. They need to find a new guitarist for their orchestra. She finds this guy on the subway who plays his guitar there for money, and she offers the job to him because she really enjoys his playing. Then finds out that he's not a US citizen and can't be employed there unless they get married, and that gives him citizenship. So it's about their illegal relationship set in New York City with the background of Broadway. It's so much fun. The thing I love the most about Christina Lauren romances and their characters is that anytime they encounter a problem, they talk about it. It's just very mature, but at the same time the characters have fun with each other and their dialogue is nice and playful. This book just had a lot of angst and I thought it was a lot of fun, so if you're into Broadway, New York, fake relationships, it's for you. I also highly recommend Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren, which is their newest book that just came out. I am obsessed with this book. It's one of my favorite books of the year. This one's about a girl named Hazel who is a third grade teacher, and she has deemed herself not dateable because she's so weird and she doesn't think guys are into her because she's just very eccentric. One day she's reunited with one of her college friends named Josh. They end up hanging out together more by coincidence. The reason why I love this book is because if you're a weirdo, this is so for you. Usually books with that selling point come off as cheesy to me, but this is so genuine and so much fun to read. The love interest is this really respectful guy who's funny but soft and sweet, and I love it so much. The final Christina Lauren book I have to recommend you is Sweet Filthy Boy. This title and the cover are so horrible, but I guarantee you it's worth it. It's worth the embarrassment of reading it in public and everyone being like, which the stigma behind reading romance books could be a whole nother video. We're not gonna get into that. Sweet Filthy Boy follows this group of 3 girls who just graduated college, so they're going to Las Vegas to celebrate and get crunk for a night. I just said crunk like it's 2010 again. While they're in Las Vegas, they meet another group of guys are also there to celebrate and just have a good time, and they all end up having one-night stands. So the series follows like those couples. The first book follows a girl named Mia who is very sheltered and never really leaves her hometown, so this night of going out is kind of new for her. But the guy that she meets and has a fling with overnight invites her to go back to him to his hometown, Paris, France, and spend the summer with him in Paris. And so she at first is really hesitant, but then decides why the heck not, and it was just so much fun. This one's a little bit risque in terms of romance because it involves role-playing, but it was still a good exploration of being vulnerable with someone. The guy was funny but sweet and considerate. I think Christina Lauren are masters at making guys that are somehow realistic but the perfect book boyfriend type situation. I read the second book in that series and it wasn't as good as book 1, but I still highly recommend book 1. It was so much fun. And the final book I'm going to talk about today is The Princess Trap by Talia Hibbert. This book follows a woman named Cherry who works at an academy in England. One day, this mysterious man comes to her office. So she and this guy, Ruben, meet at her job and they go out to lunch, and he's just automatically fascinated with her and really wants to get to know her. It's kind of like a flingy love at first sight type thing, and then whenever they're on their way home from that, they get caught kissing in an alley by paparazzi, and it is revealed to Cherry that Ruben is actually a prince in Denmark. So in a moment of panic, he tells the press that they are engaged. So she has to pretend to be his fiance and go back to Denmark with him. That all seems so sketchy, but I promise this book is one of the most conscious and feminist books I've read as far as the female character being aware of how the guy treats her and demanding that she be treated right, and he doesn't speak down to her and he gives her autonomy. This book has a black main character, the love interest is bisexual, there's so much good representation in it, along alongside that feminism. It's unbelievable. I cannot wait to read more from this author, and I do not doubt that she will be in another recommendations video in the future. The plot of this book was so addicting. I loved those two characters' dynamic together, especially whenever Cherry would just roast Ruben for being an idiot and a dork like he is at the beginning of the book. But he has his charming moments and they have their funny moments. And it was just enjoyable. I'm not gonna lie. It was just a good time. I can't even fault it for having plot issues because the relationship aspect of it was so good. Oh my god, I just went to pack up my camera and I realized I forgot one. I accidentally skipped over The Kiss Quotient by Helen Wong. So this book is another adult romance. It's a relationship between an autistic woman and a Vietnamese man. The main character Stella has never really been good or comfortable with intimacy or relationships, so she hires a male escort to help her feel more comfortable about those things and give her experience and answer her questions. And it just talks about them building up a relationship, how that progresses to a fake relationship, and then obviously a less fake relationship. I love this book because once again, it's that slow progression, soft guy, understanding, lots of consent, just like everything wonderful that can go into a story is in this. I just loved the way that the guy handled their interactions, and I love the main character's reactions to things, taking it at her own pace. The guy was super understanding and sweet. I like the setting, I like the characters' personalities together. There's really nothing bad about this book. It's just so well done and healthy. So if you're into romance with diverse characters and just addicting plots, finger guns. Okay, that's all. So those are all the books I'm going to talk about in this video. I will link my Goodreads down below so you can check out more if you're interested. If any of you have healthy romance recommendations, I would love to hear them, and I'm sure other people who are looking for more romance would like to hear it as well. Leave those comments down below. I will add it to my Goodreads TBR. Thank you everyone so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye!